At once, I was in a room, a hole of a room. That room, a gray, stony, cold box with an iron chair and a cot and no hope. A hope was a small thing that crawled on six legs and skittered blindly in the crevices. It creeped off away into the cracks that led somewhere out or somewhere in, but just not this box. But I knelt on that floor anyway for hope. So to look into the cracks and see a thing crawling, yellow marked and angled, I was brought from the abyss. After hours of sitting in that chair, blankly staring and tracing the lines of grout in that stone, something came. It unraveled into a muted light, and that light in the darkness was calling me to dream something. Over my shoulder, I heard stirring on the cot, and I was startled up. There on the cot sat a hooded figure. He, or maybe even she, for I didn't see a face, was draped in a faded mustard yellow robe. It was a grand contrast to the sad gray stone. The hood hung so low over its head that there was no way it could see anything but the floor. The robe was ragged and full of holes, but was held together by some inconsistent stitching of yarn and thread, all yellow fibers. A patchwork of yellow cloth that seemed so ancient that if I was to touch it, I felt it may crumble to dust. Ironically, as I see it, it spilled out across the floor like sand. Then slowly, slightly, it moved an arm, only an arm, towards me. From beneath the sleeves of that wreckage of a robe, a pale fist appeared. It was a sickly thing, wrought with bruises that reminded me of an old banana peel. It was also wrong and twisted, as if the bones weren't set underneath and the skin writhed like worms hid inside. The pale thing twitched and unfurled, palm up. I noticed it had no fingernails, and I shuddered like a cold wind blew against me. Inside that ugly hand was a wet sheen like mucus, which fizzed, commingled with a handful of dust. Fear in a handful of dust, and it called me to dream something. And can anyone ever dream in a cold hole? I don't know, it may never. If it was a dream, then in that dream I stood peering across a vast wasteland of dust and sand-blasted alien spires, black, hulking wrecks that broadcast the darkness itself from within their cold metal, lay before me, covered and nearly buried by the ages. How long I could only guess, and in the distance was more sand, seeming to stretch on forever. I was struck, however real this seemed, was beyond me, by the warmth of twin suns that leaked light towards this entombed place. Two bright eyes, unblinking, pushing out to me. I walked on another world, ridiculously obvious to me, but it did not feel foreign. Something in my mind felt nostalgic, and I reached out to them, both fiery orbs beckoning, one feeble arm trembling towards, and I felt it. I saw it. I heard it. Where the songs of the Hyades played, their blood-curdling hymns haunting the wastes, and it was named for me. It crackled in my mind. My eardrums vibrated with each awful syllable. Carcosa. Once again, I was cast into blackness. This time, however, something came with me.